Hunter, if he knew what we, the audience, know about Belos, would be significantly more anxious about his position right now. He would be significantly more hesitant to place his faith in Belos. The idea of Belos caring for Hunter, tending to Hunter, making Hunter feel important, only to brutally slaughter Hunter in a ritual sacrifice for the Day of Unity is an idea that has been floating around significantly in the Owl House fandom since Season 2A, but it has gained significantly more currency during Season 2B, especially after that last episode. I already made a video on the idea of Belos sacrificing Hunter right before yesterday's lie back in August of last year, but it is worth re-examining this whole idea in the context of what we've just seen in Elsewhere and Elsewhen. Belos/Philip Whittabane is completely okay with sacrificing Lilith and Luce to his cause, even though they have done nothing bad to him and they have only been kind and caring and welcoming to him. It's not that he hated them specifically. He doesn't have any strong feelings about them or about anyone. He's so monomaniacally possessed, driven to his megalomaniacal desires, that he's willing to just crush anyone who stands in his way. Other people are expendable to him. Flattery and faux intimacy are just tools to gain the trust of others so he can exploit them for his own benefit. There is nothing real and substantial in his gestures of kindness and support to other people. They're just facades. Well, I hope that we see more of different sides of Belos/Philip, and though I hope that he turns out to be more than simply a monster of pure callousness, all that we have gotten of him so far suggests that he has all the moral ambiguity of a classic Disney villain, that is to say, very little, with not a lot of those Disney villains' style and panache and flair. He is not very theatrical, but that he has no desire to cause cruelty to others should not hide the fact that he has no problem with causing cruelty to others, too. Nothing matters to him except his ambitions. Hunter should fear him, for he is quite a dangerous man. This leaves Hunter in a strange position. We have only seen Hunter a few times since he finally dropped the Golden Guard persona and Luce got a chance to see who he actually is, and we, the audience, got a chance to see who he actually is. But he has made a very significant impression on the show because of all the show's characters at this juncture. He is the one with the most acute moral dilemma. With all apologies to Luce, who has become significantly more compelling as the show has progressed, especially in relation to the promise she made to her mother and the torment that causes her, Hunter is the most interesting character in the show right now. One of the biggest knocks against the Owl House right now is that there is not a lot of immediate tension and immediate anxiety about the future. Compare this to something like Avatar: The Last Airbender, where they have a clear idea of what they need to do from the start. Stop the Fire Lord before the comet comes, or he will use that comet to inflict terrible destruction on the world. Even Gravity Falls, as meandering as it can be, wonderfully so, has the ability to set limits on the experiences of its characters. Dipper and Mabel only have till summer, and that shortness of time inevitably lends to the show this feeling of melancholy and wistfulness even before we reach the poignant moments wherein Mabel completely breaks down over the thought of not really having these beautiful, fun summers with Dipper anymore as they grow up. The Owl House, conversely, is a little more meandering. Luce's grand objective at this point is to try and construct a door to the human realm so that she can see her mom and freely go back and forth between the two realms. But she already managed to construct a door in Season 2A, albeit an imperfect one. And even during Season 2A, that conflict was much more minor than one would expect, considering all the grandiose plans Belos has. These plans matter, but they're not a major part of Luce's perspective. She hardly registers them. She doesn't like Belos, but she doesn't constantly think about him in the same way that, say, Aang thinks about the Fire Lord and the need to defeat him. So I'm interested to see where Hunter's story goes from here. He feels an obligation toward Belos because Belos lifted him up from obscurity. Being someone without magical powers in this world is to be put at a disadvantage, and Belos lifts him up to a position of prestige so that he is able to overcome this disadvantage. To go against that would be a major risk. It would be a major thing that would disrupt his idea of himself. It would disrupt his self-conception. So one understands why he is hesitant to abandon Belos, even though he disagrees with Belos ardently on a few things, especially regarding wild magic. Yet, considering the idea that Belos could sacrifice Hunter, Hunter does not really have a choice. Either he turns away from Belos and establishes a new identity for himself, and is able to see himself outside of the framing of the Emperor's Coven, framing of himself as this grand, loyal soldier of the Emperor. Unless he's able to do that, he's doomed. So I'm interested to see what happens to him in Any Sport in a Storm. A strange title for an episode that initially appears to be rather lighthearted compared to the ones we've just seen. I know we all love Willow, but I think we can all agree that Willow's athletic adventures are not the heart and soul of the Owl House. The plot featuring Hunter is the compelling part of this episode. He is going to have to infiltrate Hexside. We see him wearing a Hexside uniform. This will be difficult for him, considering that both Luce and Amity know who he is. They've both seen him without the mask. That is especially a problem in the whole Amity part of the situation, because Amity hates him. She was nice to him, she reached out to him, and he was cruel to her. He betrayed her confidence and tried to take the key for himself. Luce is a little different. He has a strong connection with Luce. The two of them are both outsiders, and they're both nerds. They're both complete dorks for all the magical secrets of the world, not purely because they find those secrets interesting, though they do, but because those secrets allow them to participate in magical society in a way that they, not being natural magic users, would otherwise not be able to. Contrasting Hunter's interactions with Luce in Hunting Palisman with the interactions between Philip and Luce in Elsewhere and Elsewhen is a useful exercise because on a superficial level, these interactions are similar. Luce finds this person who is initially gruff and a bit perturbed, but eventually reaches out to Luce, and they form a bond based on their love of magic and all the mysterious and mystical secrets of this world, and they gain a greater appreciation for each other by the end. The difference is, of course, that Philip is completely insincere. He never cares about Luce, and he is just trying to get her to trust him so that he can take advantage of her. Hunter is different. He cares for Luce. He is lost, he's wandering, he's uncertain about who he is, and he finds an unexpected bond with Luce. He is able to connect with Luce to such an extent that when she, someone he at the start of the episode would not have cared about at all, calls him out on not defending all that is moral and right and good, it affects him, and he reveals the truth about himself to her in a important moment of honesty and sincerity. Hunter has consistently failed in the past, and he knows that if he is to retain the approval of the Fire Lord, the Emperor, then he is going to have to succeed this time. He's going to have to find a way to fulfill the desires of Belos. Will he be able to do this? Should he try to do this? While one understands why he's so desperate to fulfill Belos' expectations for him, and the pressure he is under to convince Belos that taking him in and spending all that time training him and supporting him was worthwhile, based on what we see in terms of how Belos behaves toward Luce and Lilith, one can absolutely consider that Belos would not hesitate to sacrifice Hunter, especially if Belos believes it is for a grand ambition, like it probably will be for the Day of Unity, an event that has a lot of secretive elements to it, a lot of information about it that has thus far been withheld. Belos has grand plans, and he's not going to let anyone prevent him from completing those plans if he has any say in it. And sacrificing Hunter, if his plans require him to do that, would be for Belos no big obstacle. Hunter needs to realize that, as difficult as it would be for him, considering that Belos has been the only one to support him. But Hunter's fate, his future, depends on him being able to leave Belos. So thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can, and you want to see more videos like this before anyone else can. Keep watching The Owl House. I'm really interested to see what they do for this season, considering how close the show is to wrapping up. Anyway, tune in soon for my next analysis. It will be coming soon. That I promise you. Thank you all again. Adios, comrades.